Good morning. My name is Kim. I'm from Olds, which is just south of Red Deer. I'm a fitness instructor here in town, and currently I'm working from my home gym, but normally I'm at a little studio called All About You Fitness and Yoga right in Olds. It's a lovely little private fitness and yoga studio that we teach out of. And we've got a really good small group of instructors that offer about 40 classes a week. So this videoing is definitely new for me. I prefer obviously seeing everybody's faces and being in the same space with them, but we do what we have to do right now. So I'm gonna run you through a bit of a workout today. It's approximately 30 minutes long. I'm gonna give you lots of options from seated or from standing, and then varying levels of difficulty. You'll find that I use timers more often than I count out reps. It's a preferred method for me because I feel that if I can give you, for today for example, a 20-second work window, however many reps you can get in, based on your own ability, the pace that you're comfortable working at with really good form, then you shouldn't worry about getting to 10 or getting to 15 before we move on to the next thing. So we're gonna work off a timer. We'll see how you feel with those. And then hopefully I can sort of communicate to you the different options that are available. Okay, so we're gonna get started. I'm gonna start your warm up from standing. I'm gonna count out your reps for your warm up, and then we're gonna move into the timer. So, sitting up nice and tall, drop the shoulders, big breath in. Let's start with some shoulder shrugs. Up and down, good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep going. 9. Good. We're going to move into chest openers. Arms come out front, open, and close. Really trying to sit up nice and tall, keeping the shoulders square. That's 4, 5, 5 more, 6, 8, 9, and 10. Good. We're going to move into marches. Hands are on our hip, or our hands are on our knees, sorry. Lifting and lowering. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Moving into a seated cat-cow. So you're going to cave the chest in, roll those shoulders forward, drop your chin to your chest. Big breath out. Breath in. Press the chest out, chin to the ceiling. That's 1. And repeat. Roll, curl yourself in. 2. 3. 4. 5. Back to the top. Shoulder shrugs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into the chest openers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Seated marches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. A couple more of those cat-cows. Roll in. Breathe out. Roll in. Breathe out. Good. We're going to get started. Starting with a jab cross with a tap out. I'm going to do round 1 from seated. I'll do round 2 from standing. Here we go. Hands are up, seated nice and square. Punch. In and out. If you would like to add the tap into it, you're more than welcome. Tap, tap, So you can stay seated, or if you're working from standing, make sure you've got your chair handy. Feet are nice and wide, about hip width, good and stable. Arms are up. Okay, now you're going to have the option to stay right in front of your chair. And boxing, we're working now. And if you would like to add in the tap out, you can. Tap, tap, tap. Remembering to keep that whole foot on the floor when shifting from left to right. Rest. So you have the option. You can do this from your chair or you can do this from standing. Okay? We have 2 more rounds before we're going to move on to the next exercise. I like this one because it gets you nice and warm. All right, hands are up. Here we go. Left and right, boxing. If you're comfortable where you can stagger your feet, you go ahead and do that. Making sure our core is pulled in nice and tight, nice and stable. Rest. If you're working without shoes on, making really certain that your feet are nice and pressed into the floor. If you have shoes on, doing your best to keep those toes uncurled inside your shoes, okay? Good, standing up tall, we have 1 more round. Fists can come up. Good, let's go. Jab, cross. Couple more. Good, rest. You get a break. You can have a drink of water if you like. You can get yourself comfortable, and I'm going to show you what the next exercise is. So, we're moving on to some lower body work. We're going to be doing a plie squat with a calf raise. I'm going to show you again the options for standing and for seating. So if you're standing, chair is close by, I'm going to open up my hips wide, or open up my feet wider than my hips, turn my toes out. Okay? Now from here, I'm going to focus on dropping my tailbone down, slight bend in the knees, up on one toe, drop the heel, up on the other toe, drop the heel. Let's get ready to work. Down, up, up, standing up. Thinking about dropping the tailbone towards the floor. If you're seated, you can do these as well. Good, resting. I'm going to come to my chair and I'm going to show you how to do this from the seated position. Again, up nice and tall. Make sure you're getting square in your chair. My feet are opening up extra wide, turning my toes out, just like we did before when we were standing. Now from here, I'm going to lift and lower, lift and lower. Just pressing up into the balls of my feet, trying to get up onto my tippy toes. You can hold on to the chair by your side if you need. If you want a little extra challenge, you can bring the hands out front. Good, rest. There's always lots of options if you want to try to make things more difficult or easier, right? Always just focusing on making sure that the essentials are there. Nice tight core, sitting up nice and tall, keeping the shoulders down, and we're working again. Toes are turned out, lift, lower. Good. 5 seconds. Resting. I'm going to do the last round from standing. Again, I'm opening up my feet a little bit wider than hip width, opening up those toes. Okay. I'm going to make sure that my chair is nice and close. If I need one behind me, that's great too. Pulling in, we're working. Drop, lift, lift, and stand. Come on down and stand. Good job. working the inner thighs and those calf muscles, working the ankles. Good, resting. We're gonna be moving on. Now, staying in the standing position, I will show you what you're gonna do here, and then I'm gonna demo it again, coming into the chair. So we're going to do a tap back, okay? I'm gonna move it to the side so you can see. If I'm holding onto my chair from the side, the outside leg is going to touch back and forward. Slide back and forward. You can make this more difficult and work on your balance if you're up for it by bending that leg and tap and bring it in so that there's more balance being worked on, okay? Here you go, you're working. If you're sitting in your chair from the side, tap, forward, tap, forward. I've got my arms slung over the back of my chair so I'm nice and comfortable, and I'm working on bringing that leg back, thinking about the bum cheek. Good, rest. We're going to turn sides. My arm is over the back of my chair for stability, sitting up nice and tall, ready to work. Good. Touch back and forward, back and forward. Remember your options for standing. I'll do round 4 with those of you that are standing. You don't have to alternate. If you want to, you can, but you can just pick whatever works best, or if you get tired, then you switch, right? I'm going to finish up here. All right. So I'm going to be turning, standing sideways to my chair. Posture is nice and tall. Thinking about that bum cheek that's working. Sliding the leg back and together. Good. Remembering your options to work on the balance. If you're feeling up for it, if you like the challenge, you can keep that foot off. Tap and in and tap. Good. Turn sides. All right, resetting. I'm up nice and tall. Outside leg is going to be doing the work this time. Sliding back, together. Back, together. Good. Not holding our breath, keeping our eyes focused on a fixed point. Good, rest, we're moving on. Back to a little bit of boxing. We're gonna be doing uppercuts. So from standing, I can either have my feet hip width apart, nice and solid. If I'm feeling up for it, I can stagger my feet, making sure again that they're not wider than my hips. And with your uppercut, the fists come up, and we're going to pop right up to the ceiling. Okay? Thinking about keeping our core nice and stable, holding our hips nice and square. If I'm going to do this from the chair, I'm going to come on in, seat myself in nice and stable, and from here, fists are up by your face, let's go. Up towards the ceiling. We don't want to hold our breath when we're boxing, but we should be feeling our core working and our shoulders. Rest. Again, the pace that you work at is totally up to you, which is why I like the timers, right? This next round, I'm actually going to pick up the pace a little bit. I'll box a little bit faster. You do the pace that makes you comfortable. All right, fists are up, let's go. Straight up to the ceiling. Working the shoulders and the back. The core is working. Good, rest. Your you're halfway there. You have 2 more rounds of this. I'm going to come back to standing. Okay? Keeping my chair close by. I'm going to stagger my feet just a little bit. Knees are nice and soft, core is pulled in, and we're boxing. Up. Good, you got a few more in you. Good job. Okay, we have 1 more round. I'm almost ready to take my sweater off and get warmer. Okay, last round. Here you go. 20 seconds, working hard. Rest. Good job. Now, if you feel like you could do more rounds, you could pause me, rewind a little bit, and do another few rounds, right? That's kind of the joy of actually having it being taped, is that you can either fast forward or rewind, depending on where you're at for the day. Okay, back to some lower body. We're gonna do high knees. Again, standing sideways. Oh, I'm gonna go this way. Standing sideways, I'm gonna either hold onto the chair and bring one hand just about hip height and focus on bringing my knees up to that height, okay? From seated, arms are out front, and I'm going to march it out. Here we're working. You can bring them in here if you like. There's some great satisfaction in being able to bring that leg up to those hands. Focusing on those thighs. When the arms are out here, you're actually just working your core a little bit more and working on your balance a little bit more. So you just sort of decide what you want to work on. Either way, your legs are going to have a really good workout. All right. Turning sideways. Again, I'm going to bring the outside hand about hip height, and we're working. Focusing on staying nice and tall. I want my eyes focused on a balance point. I'm going to use the chair for balance. One hand is on the chair, or if I'm feeling comfortable, I can have both hands. Good. Rest. The speed that you do these, and obviously the height in which you lift your legs, is what's going to determine your level of difficulty and what's most comfortable for you. Okay, I'm going to turn the other side. I'm going to do 1 more round standing. Here we go, we're working. Almost there. Good, rest. We've got 1 more round of these, and then we're going to be moving on. Again, back to the upper body. All right, so I'm seated. I'm going to decide if I want my hands out front or closer to my thighs, and we're going to march. Thinking about our posture, making sure we're up nice and tall. Heart rate should be up a little bit. Legs should feel like they're working at this point. Good, rest. Moving on. Now, I call this a swim and rotate. It's just sort of what it reminds me of as a swimmer. Again, there's lots of options for this one. From seated, this one really works on our core strength and our balance while we're twisting our trunk. So that's what I want you to think about when we work through this one. Okay, so we're going to start with our arms out at shoulder height, sitting up nice and tall. I'm going to lift up one arm, look underneath my armpit, and bring it back down. Staying on the same side, up and release. Now, we're working. I can stay right here and focus on a really good lift and lower, working those shoulders, working the back, or I can add a little twist in and look underneath the armpit towards the opposite wall. Good, rest. We're gonna go to the other side, this direction, okay? Now from standing, it's exactly the same. You have the option, hands are straight out in front. We're gonna be going that direction this time. So I'm gonna lift up, look under my arm, and lower. Twist and lower. You can stay facing forward and just focus on that shoulder and how that feels through the back. Sitting up nice and tall or standing nice and tall, knees are soft. Good, rest. Drop those arms down. Or if you really want to challenge yourself, you're going to be twisting and looking, okay? All right. Here we go. I got nice soft knees, feet are firmly planted, chairs in a safe position, and twist. Good. Rest. One more on the other side, and then we're going to be moving on. Okay? So maybe for the last one, just so it's even and I'm fair with everything, I'll come back down to my chair. All right. I'm going to keep my feet open a little bit. Sit up nice and tall. Arms are out front. We're headed that direction. Look and release. 10 seconds. I love how this stretches open my ribs and really works my back muscles. Rest. Especially right now, and a lot of us spend a lot of time sitting, and it's very easy for our shoulders to roll in. And so I like movement like that that forces us to sort of reopen that chest area and square off the shoulders. Makes our backs a lot stronger, shoulders, elbows, wrists, all of those things get paid off in spades. So I really like movements like that. Okay, staying with the upper body. We're almost there. Now, again, starting with my left hand, I'm gonna reach overhead, look up at my fingertips if my balance is comfortable with that. Across the opposite hip, little twist and open. We're working twist and open. This is the same if you're standing. Good, rest. If that movement makes you dizzy, swinging the head back and forth, you're just gonna focus on a fixed position ahead of you, which is potentially me, depending on where you're looking at me from. So now I'm going to go with my right hand. I can start down low, try to bring across my hip and open. Twist and open. But now, my chin stays in a fixed position. Good. Sometimes this movement can make people dizzy. Good, rest. I'm gonna do the other two from standing, okay? Now, from the standing position, I'm gonna sort of talk you through, you've already done two. If you want to make it a little bit harder, you're actually going to shift your weight from foot to foot, okay? So I'm shifting to the right, shifting to the left, right, left. I'm not lifting my feet off the floor. I'm just shifting my weight from left to right. Or, nice soft knees, staying put. Good. Rest. So lots of options, right? Some days you might want the added resistance. And some days you might just feel good working through the movements and really focusing on those sort of open movements, right? Okay, right hand, last round. I'm going to start with it on my left hip, hand is on my chair, and reach. Always making sure our tummies are pulled in and we're breathing. It's amazing how easy it is to hold our breath. Good. Rest. Moving on. We're actually into our last movement of today's exercises. So, to finish off, we're going to do 4 rounds, same as we have been doing. We're going to do big, wide bear hugs. So if I'm standing or I'm seated, these are exactly the same. My arms are going to come open and I'm going to pull my arms until I feel a nice stretch through my chest and into the upper shoulder. Then I'm going to cross my left hand over, squeeze, open, right hand over, squeeze. So, however you can close that movement, that's where you're going to go. What you're thinking about while you're working is chest open, open through the back, open through the chest, widen out the back, and open. I love this. Good, rest. I'll come do a couple from seated, because, I better maintain my routine here at this point. So same thing. We're going to think about opening through the chest and then broadening through the back. Okay? Either way, we're seated nice and tall, core is pulled in. You can have your feet open a little bit, open through the chest, close. Open, bring in the back. Sitting up nice and tall. Okay, now is not the time that we're going to slouch. We're going to sit up nice and tall. Make sure we're working those hip flexors. Good, rest. Working the back, working the core. We're almost done. We have 3 more rounds of this. My music is not playing anymore. I had it on very quietly. I like to listen to music when I work out. Which is telling me that we're coming to the end of our workout. Good. I'm pre-recording this on Friday, and it is supposed to be an absolutely beautiful weekend. Good, close. So I'm hoping that we can get outside and give the kids some fresh air. It'll be lovely. You're resting. You have 1 more round. All right, here we go. Last ones. Open and close. Now, if you would like to, when you're done, you could revisit our warm-up and actually use that as a really good mobility piece for your cool down. You're done. Make sure you're drinking some water. Again, if you want to have a bit of a cool down piece, revisit what we did at the beginning, which was shoulder shrugs. They should be feeling a little looser and a little warmer now. The chest openers, which we just did, but hold it for a count or 2, and then release, and then hold for a count, and release. You can use those seated marches, and then you can finish with the cat-cows, which will feel lovely now that your spine and your core is nice and warm. You're going to find that you can move through those a little bit nicer. So if you'd like to use that, you go right ahead. Have a super day. I hope you enjoyed our workout, and we'll be seeing you again soon. Take care.